Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope y'all are doing good. Well, I did a stream earlier this week talking about what Glock did. They're going to cancel virtually all of their models, and people have a lot to say about it. And I certainly had a lot to say about it as well. If you haven't seen that video yet, go back and check it out. And I thought to myself, well, I got some interesting comments on that live stream, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to read them all. And I'm going to react to it. And me doing that, you're going to see how vastly divided or bifurcated this community really is on that topic. You're also going to see some things that just have been brought out in human nature. It seems more and more as time goes on. You're going to see people with a lot of cope. You're also going to see people being simps. And you're going to see people who vehemently disagree with this. See, here's the thing, though. Don't tell them I said this. I'm sure a lot of them, this is still their favorite channel. They just had to act tough because of reasons, but that's okay, too. And we had some excellent comments, and we had some people who agreed with me. And, of course, the ones that agree with me, I'm going to say are the excellent comments, like, obviously. So we're going to go through all of this. But either way, I do have to say there is a little bit of silver lining with all this, regardless of where you stand. Some of you are still on the, but Glock didn't do anything wrong. This is the most excellent choice they made. And then you have people going as far as to say, piss on Glock. All right, we're going to go through and read a bunch of comments. And let me know if you guys think this is a fun topic, because I think it might be a little bit interesting and a little bit of change of pace. But I will say, here's the good news, regardless of all of this. Yeah, at least we don't have to hear people whining and crying about Canada and all of this kind of stuff, because, you know, Canada, it is what it is, but I'm an American, and we need to put America first, and we need to be worried about what's going on in our country right now and what Austrian gun companies and just all kinds of gun companies are doing here in the United States. Before we get into this, because I'm going to be reading comments, and again, not just reading them, but reacting to them and telling you what I think about these comments, thus giving you a lot more insight on my opinion, the opinions of this channel. But I have to get a couple quick things out there just so you guys realize this. Now, I think most of you already totally get it, but there might be somebody who's new watching. And if you are, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you, and good to see all of you that have been hanging out for so long. I see all kinds of channel members in the chat, and I will read any super chats tonight. And if we reach our goal and there's still time left, I'll do a Q&A for everybody. But here's the deal, guys. And this is like this weird thing, but it's still something that I need to keep addressing. But 2A EDU, Glock isn't anti-2A because they're canceling their models. No, not inherently in and of itself, because of a bunch of reasons. But that's besides the point. Is it going to be a slippery slope? Yeah, I believe so. Could we see this whole thing going on in California and this whole new concept that, like, gun companies have to abide by California law throughout the whole country? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Just keep giving the other side an inch so they'll take a mile. And let's just take it out on the other 49 states because of one state law. Like, I feel for you guys in California, but it's like, no, Michigan passed red flag laws and I hate it. Does that mean I want everybody else to have red flag laws? Heck no. Heck no. And those of you who do not have them, you need to fend them off. And those of you that do, you need to try to get rid of them. Like, this whole, like, we have to drag everybody down to the lowest common denominator is a bunch of crap. Oh, so we have some people that are losing more than others, so let's make everybody lose equally? No, I'm sick and tired of losing. I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to be an underachiever. I want the best for everybody. So if there's a state that really sucks, yeah, we should wish them well, and however we can. Well, we still always have to keep track of our own backyards first, obviously. That's why we need to be America first. And then you need to put your state and your local hometown first. And then with whatever time, resources, and energy you have left, yeah, all of these United States need all of our help together, obviously. But I don't want to be drugged down to the lowest common denominator. I don't want to be an underachiever. And this whole crabs in the bucket mentality, it's a bunch of crap. Like, look, I don't want the whole United States to be like California. And that's just my whole saying on that. And there's lots of awesome people from California. But here's the thing. That's not why I say Glock is for gun control. I say Glock is for gun control because Glock is literally for gun control, as we talked about on this channel 2 months ago, and then predicted this will be a slippery slope and they'd cave here and they'd call for gun control and then they'd have to keep caving. And guess what? We've been proven 100% right so far. I also have some further predictions with Glock, and I predict that I'll be proven right on those, but we'll get into those another time. Glock literally called for gun control on their own stationery with a guy by the last name of Guevara. Maybe he's Che Guevara's cousin. I don't know, but some people say so. See, the Austrian Glock company run by a guy named Guevara. You can't even make this up. That sounds very Austrian or German-esque to me, doesn't it, you? They literally wrote a letter to the Oklahoma state legislature. They called for gun control. They pleaded for gun control. They said they would do anything in their power to make gun control happen in that state, and they wanted them to join 20-something other states. So this is this simple. It reminds me of back when we used to have the former vice president. Do you remember that? Former Vice President Biden. At that time, he was the current former vice president. And Pillbox knows what I'm talking about. What's up, Pillbox Bunker? I used to have the most common question for 4 years straight on this channel. But 2A EDU, why do you call him the former vice president? I'm like, I call him the current former vice president because he is the current former vice president. And that's what I said for 4 years. It was the most frequently asked question on this channel, and it was the easiest one that was answered. Well, and now Glock's taking over for that. Now the hardest, but it's actually the easiest question I get is, but 2A EDU, they just wanted to come out with the V series. The V. Yeah, whatever. Oh, that's cute. But here's the thing. No. I call Glock anti-2A, and I say Glock called for gun control because Glock did call for gun control. And they haven't taken it back. And as far as I know, they're still calling for gun control right now. So it's this whole weird thing where, like, in this day and age, everyone thinks like, oh, well, what this guy really means is because of this V series, that's not gun control, but actually 2A EDU, they're allowed to upgrade their trigger if they want. Yeah, I know. Yawn. Whatever. No, I say Glock called for gun control because Glock literally calls for gun control. So it's like the whole thing where it's just that obvious. So there you guys go. That answers that. One more quick thing before I get into these comments, because some of them are like really, really good. Some of them are funny, and some of them are just like, ugh. So make sure you have your Tums going because you might get that pit in your stomach, just knowing that the gun community is not all one thing like you might have hoped they were or thought they were. Look, I know a lot of my viewers own Glocks. I know a lot of you guys love Glocks. It's your favorite gun. I realize some of you guys are out there like wanting to buy 10 more right now. Look, you do you if that's what you're into. I've said this a million times. And when I talk about like, you know, Glock viewer crash out, yeah, these people are crashing out. They're jumping out of the plane and forgetting to attach their parachute. All of this is going on. If you think somehow I'm referring to you, then I probably am, and you suck, and maybe we can still be friends. But at the same time, come on, guys. No, I'm not knocking everybody that owns Glocks. Well, if you saw the thumbnail, that's one of my Glocks. I own more than one. So no, I'm not knocking you if you own a Glock. I'm not knocking you if it's your favorite gun for whatever reason. I'm not telling you to stop carrying it. I'm not telling you to go like make effigies of it and burn them in your backyard. Although if that's what you're into, that might be kind of cool too. No, like, look, it's this whole thing where there's the Glock. It's an item. You bought said item with the fruits of your labor. You still feel the need to carry it. Hey, you're responsible for your own safety. But it's this weird thing that we need to cut it out. No, your gun, your Glock, it's not your firstborn child. It's not part of your soul. It's not part of your whatever. If you need it as a tool to survive, keep surviving. I wish you well. Like, I didn't sell all of my guns immediately from that anti-gun company that inked a deal with the devil in Illinois, Springfield Armory. I'm calling them out right now, and I'm still going to call them out. Did I burn all my guns? No. I just don't really like promote the company because I thought they pulled some BS. So there's a big difference, and I think a lot of you know that difference, but I just have to say it because there's this weird thing where it's like, what? You coming after me, bro? I own 37 Glocks. I wasn't trying to, but there is that old saying out there. You know what I mean? You throw a rock into a pack of dogs, the one that yelps is the one you hit. So I guess maybe, but I'm not intentionally coming after any Glock owners whatsoever, because I too am a Glock owner. So with that, we are going to get right into this. And I see we have 2 super chats I want to read real quick. And I do want to thank all of you guys real quick for the many ways you help support the channel. Thank you to all my channel members who I see in the chat right now. You guys have unique emojis. You also get these member super chats. And N8IWS484, member for 53 months. Wow, man, that's a long time. And thank you for so much support, man. He says it's like a segment of viewer mail. Exactly. Viewer mail, support. Hey, you guys are going to hear some of the smartest things ever. You're going to hear some real dullards speaking too. You're going to hear all of it because that's just, well, that's what you run into, right? So thank you for the member super chat. And we have Mateo, who I'd like to thank for being the channel moderator as well as a longtime channel member. And he left a super chat saying, kicking it off. Well, thank you, man. Hopefully you can get something started here. And I do definitely appreciate the support. Thank you also to my Patreon supporters. Those of you who support on Locals, which is a different site, censorship free. Also, all of you who, like I said, may leave a super chat. You're my sponsor. I'm not doing any ad reads, but there is ways you can help support the channel down in the description. And if you want awesome deals on stuff, like stuff you guys might be into, like crazy deals, make sure you check out my Locals community. It's free to join, or you can support. And also check out my feed on X, because I posted some really good deals on cool stuff just today, just a couple hours ago. So make sure you check all of those out. So when you sort your comments out, you can sort them by newest first or by top comments. I'm hitting newest first because I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. If you say something the YouTube algorithm does not necessarily like, if it's bad enough, your comment will just get ghosted and never, ever appear. Just so you know that. A lot of comments just don't show up if it's something that YouTube doesn't like or if it violates their terms of service. If they think your comment's 100% on the up and up, it's with the status quo. If the information overlords think it suits the New World Order enough, your comment will post as normal. There's a third category. It's called a shadow banned comment. I'm giving you guys a heads up on this. If you sort by newest first, you can see a whole bunch of extra comments that normally they didn't quite delete it. It wasn't that bad, but they didn't let it go to the public, which is the default view, which is top comments. By you sorting them by newest first, you can see a whole realm of new comments. This way, we are going to get them all, okay? I could make this just reading everything in the chat here. Yeah, there's 20 plus lawsuits against Glock right now. Thank you. I'm learning stuff here I didn't learn in Harvard Law School. Yeah, I know. I already knew that. I know all of this. Like I've said, I'm going to say it again real quick. Keep appeasing the other side. Keep moving the goalpost for them. And before you know it, we'll see what happens. I've made my predictions. I did a whole stream on this topic the other day. Now we're going to read the comments. So the first one, which is the newest one, and I'm going to try to get through all these I can, even though there's like 100. The first one I'm going to read is, this guy turned into a goofy. Yet again, look, I would have laughed, but yet again, just people on here that I assume are results because YouTube censored all this stuff for minors can't put a sentence together, like at all. So the grammatical, I mean, this guy turned into a goofy. Now, if he just said, this guy reminds me of Goofy, I'd go, and like whatever. But there you go. Yet again, somebody else that can't put together a coherent sentence. So I don't know what to say. So this guy turned into a goofy. Right on, dude. Like, go read elementary school textbooks and then I'll have a conversation with you. But I'm just getting annoyed at stupid people at this point. The next one says, love your vids with a heart emoji. Well, thank you. I appreciate the support. The next one, these aren't going anywhere. I never said they were, did I? I never said Glocks were going anywhere. And just here's another hot take. Glock, I think, in my opinion, is going to make more money than they ever have before. And I have a whole lot more on this. But that's for another video. This is like a huge, huge profitable move, in my opinion. They aren't going anywhere. Guess they are the target du jour. Ooh, we have someone who speaks French. Au revoir. Target du jour, just like many others in the past. Ruger anti-2A. Hold on. Not anymore. Bill Ruger was anti-2A, called for the 15 and then the 10 round magazine limit. He died. Kids took over the company. They don't share the same anti-2A views as their old man. I'm good with Ruger now. I harbor nothing against them. If Bill Ruger, the guy that helped get us the AWB in 94, if he was still running the company, absolutely. Ruger's different. So here's my rules. Once the people that made the decisions are gone from the company, or the company's not even owned by the same people anymore, then it's a clean slate because the people that made the bad decisions are gone now. If that's the case with Ruger. He continues, Springfield anti-2A, absolutely, and I still call them out, even though I'm one of the only people left on YouTube that does. You're absolutely correct. Springfield anti-2A, I agree. SIG anti-2A. I don't know if they're anti-2A. Their gun started to become such a debacle. That in and of itself could lead to gun control. Daniel Defense anti-2A. Yes, absolutely. Come on, guys. At this point, gun companies are generalized as anti-2A. I agree, actually. Can't wait to have a break from all the drama. Unfortunately, there will be another company or individual to complain about. Whatever draws in attention or validates emotional opinions. Okay, hold on a minute. I was with this guy for a minute. But, dude, like, I don't know. Maybe these are all women that are responding on here. This sounds like a bunch of cackling women that are sitting there. But my feel's this. I feel that. I just feel like, no wonder we're losing so much. Give me a break. Unfortunately, there'll be another company or individual to complain about. Absolutely. It's long been known that the gun manufacturing industry, tons of them are anti-2A. Always have been, always will be. This is a huge, huge problem because we're always fighting the other side, including people on our own side. But then like the little like I don't know, it just reminds me of a woman coming in here. Whatever draws in attention or validates emotional opinions. No, I don't have that. So that's you. That's your problem. You're just going to have to deal with your emotions. Maybe it's just that time of the month, like whatever. No. When this channel calls out the Glock's anti-2A, it's because Glock literally, physically called for gun control in writing. No bones about it. Springfield has called for gun control or made deals with lobbying groups so they would get exempted from the gun control. That literally happened. Daniel Defense, yes, the owner has called for gun control in writing. Like, dude, they call for gun control in writing. We report that here, not because we need to validate things. Like, I'm validated just fine. I just got done spending yesterday evening with my beautiful wife and daughter. They're awesome human beings. Like, 5 minutes with them is a gift from God. Dude, I'm completely validated 100%. You might not be, but like, whatever, dude. We just report what goes on here. Next one. What survival Lily, comma. She is in Austria and she warns about the New World Order agenda. I'm familiar with her channel. I used to watch it and I just don't anymore because it's kind of gotten to the point where, look, I like women. I do, but I don't need to listen to women pontificate on stuff. And when I hear women pontificate for too long, I get annoyed, so I unsubscribed a long time ago. Nothing personal against her, but like whatever. But I do know who that channel is. I don't know what this means though. What survival Lily, comma. So I don't really understand exactly what that means. Same guy comes in. I fired a Glock one time in my life. Period. I thought it was fat and awkward. Plus, I want a safety on my guns. Okay, well, I'm with you on that, man. Like, I found it to be fat because, look, like the dual material mag does make the mag less volumetrically efficient, so to still get 15 rounds in a certain overall outer size of the grip frame, you do have to make the gun a little fatter to hold those same rounds in there. I've often had that gripe about Glock. That is what it is. Not a deal breaker. I just don't like the weird Glock grip angle historically, or otherwise known as the Glock hump. But I'm with you on it feeling awkward in my hands. I've never thought it point straight. It's just never been my favorite gun. And I do own a couple. It's just like, it never felt natural to shoot the thing. That's why I've never been able to fall in love. It's like, well, but 2A EDU, they're a simple design. No, I know. I'm an AK guy. So like that's way more simple and way more robust than any pistol design I'm familiar with. So I do get that. And then like I want a safety on my guns. I understand. I think maybe what the OP means is they want a manual like frame or slide mounted safety, because it's not correct to say Glock does not have a safety. Glock does have an external safety as well as internal safety. So like the little blade on the trigger, that is actually an external safety. So I'm going to say, like, I hear you on it not being comfortable in your hands, but you're just wrong that it doesn't have a safety. Just like literally wrong. So, you know, the next one, Glock hates civilians owning firearms. You know, I don't know this for sure because I don't know like everybody that like, you know, I don't know all the people there, but if you just want my opinion, I would say, yeah, actually, you know, because I did hear that once they cancel all the models except for this new V series and the like the 43X and whatnot, they're still going to be able to sell the old versions. They're going to choose to sell the old versions. Like they're choosing to do this. That law enforcement and military. So it's like, yeah, I think that's the case. I think Glock probably does just hate civilians owning firearms. I mean, they're from Austria. Look at the gun laws there. Yeah. The next one. All we do in this community is sit back and take everything. Yeah. If Glock made 3-round mags, we would still sit back and take it. Continue to cry about it online. I gave that one a heart. Absolutely. I mean, really? That is true. I mean, look, people are out there buying Glocks in record numbers right now. They're buying Glocks in droves right now. Glock's not suffering from this. In fact, Glock's had 3 different times this year where cancel me not. We're going to cancel this long list of guns. Everyone runs out and buys as many as they can. Talk about genius marketing. And then they're like, oh, wait, just kidding. These are uncanceled. We're going to put these back on. This started last April. This started a long time ago. And then, oh, no, we lied. Now here's a new updated list. And then, of course, the other day, yeah, we're getting rid of everything but like 1 or 2 guns. And we're going to come up with something all new. Yeah, I know. It's true. All right, let's see what's next here. But yeah, the gun community will never do anything. The Glock sales are going through the roof so much right now from what I've noticed. It's not even funny. All right, the next one. There are so many Glock clones out there now, some that are even better than the Glock. I agree, actually. I agree on that part of it. For example, I enjoy my PSA daggers more. They just fit better in my hands. I like the grip texture more. Not my favorite gun of all time, but like I do like some of the clones better than the original ones. So I'm with him so far. But then he goes on and says, I don't think this is Glock caving to politics. They have to do something to separate themselves from all the clones. I will bet that the Glock Vs will not be compatible with any of their older models. Well, I have to vehemently disagree with that because I literally have it in writing, signed by maybe or maybe not Che Guevara's cousin. Look, it's the guy's last name's Guevara. He's practically runs the place. He's right up there in the top couple people at Glock. No, they put out the letter calling for gun control. They just have people just, no matter how many times I keep saying it, it's never going to matter to certain people. Glock has literally physically called for gun control. So no, I disagree that they're not caving to politics. They're with the politics of gun control, provably. Whether they're compatible with any of them, well, that depends on what you mean. Some parts will not be compatible. Some parts of the gun probably will be. And what do all you Glock owners think? Because like the number one thing I get, and this is me saying this isn't the comment. That was the comment. Will not be compatible with their older models. Well, I think one of the main things Glock owners love about these pistols is they've been out for about 40 years. They say it's a tried and true design. It's just simple, stupid, less parts to break, less stuff to go wrong. You trust the platform, and that's just why you like it, because it's just so trusted and it's so simple. Is that right? Now you start changing major components of the gun, including a complete redesign of the trigger. That's a major deal, by the way. This isn't a small thing. Now, how are you guys going to look at it? Do you still look at the new Glock V series as it's super simple, stupid, even though it's like way more complex than the old ones? Keep that in mind. And it's got 40 years of reliability. Are you going to look at it that way? Or are you going to look at it like, dude, this is just a brand new gun that's come to the market and we're just going to have to see how it works out? And that 40-year clock of this is their track record, does that all reset on December 1st? Or do you still somehow carry that 40 years of reliability into this or not? And now I say 40 years asterisk. Whenever they come out with a gen, there's usually at least medium issues up to including major issues. If you remember the Gen 4 borderline catastrophic epic fail, chime in, guys, if you disagree with me, but I was just around when all this happened and there was major issues with Gen 4, but there have been issues with each and every gen, sometimes more caliber specific than others. So, you know, Glock's had issues every time they come out with a new gen. Many firearms do. I'm not trying to pick on them unfairly. However, do they still get that 40 years of trusted, or is this going to be like, this is now a new gun that just came out today and it has to earn its trust again? I am curious to see what you have to say in the chat. And if you're watching on replay, shout out to the replay crew and let me know in the comments. All right. And there's just so much to justify. And I'm going to keep reading because there's just so much to justify, like the anti-Second Amendment things Glock is calling for. In my opinion, them acquiescing, bending the knee to California, which is a slippery slope. But there's just so many ways to justify this. All right, the next one. I have never owned a Glock. I'm a Ruger fan. I still have my Ruger P85 Mark II, and it's still working just fine. Well, shout out to you, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the Ruger, and run what you brung. So I'm glad it's working good for you. This one's funny. It's on 3 lines. It says, universal health care, universal basic income, now universal Glock. Oh, that's just so clever. I love it. I'm giving that one a heart for sure. I definitely love it. Now, in the live stream, I had said a comment like, we're the ones paying their bills. Someone's got to work all day like me, tax to no end, to be able to pay the bills for all this crap. And this one says, who is playing the bills? I'm sure there's a joke in there. I just don't get it. So, all right. The next one. They're so worried about gun violence, but more than the Vietnam War's worth of people died from the jab. All right. Interesting. The same guy comes back and says, Colt did this with the SP1s back in the old days with the non-FA carrier. Absolutely. They designed it where it couldn't accept a FA bolt carrier. In other words, more of a mil spec, if you will, mil standard. Yeah, Colt has been a long-time FUD company that back when they had all the military contracts, they reminded me of a lot of this. Colt had the whole thing where as long as they still had the military M16s and, you know, M4 contracts and all this, it didn't seem like they were worried about anything. There was no law that they said they had to have a weird bolt carrier and that they had to make their gun where it would deny an in-spec carrier. No law ever said they had to do it, but they just chose to do it just to be FUD. So I agree. Colt has been historically one of the most FUD gun companies of all time. And the company became atrocious, and now they're owned by Canada or whatever, or CZ, or ask the Canadians. They'll tell you all about it. Next one. No one Glock feels the same. Their triggers are like plastic safety scissors. I have 4, and they all feel different. The plastic safety scissors, I would tend to agree. I don't think it's the best feeling trigger. It does feel very plasticky and mushy and doesn't have necessarily a smooth break. But hey, now we don't know what's going to happen going forth with the V series, and I'm kind of worried if it's what I think it is. At least they're not going off on a regular basis with people dropping them and putting them in holsters. So we'll see what happens when they do whatever they're going to do. So, yeah, I don't think Glock's ever had like the best trigger, but people have still considered it worthwhile because it's serviceable enough and they're very confident that it's going to go bang most of the time. As close to every time as you can. But here's the thing. There's never been a gun that, like, no matter what, it's just always going to work. Glocks have issues too, even though that trigger design has been very well proven over the decades. But it does feel like plastic safety scissors, so I agree with that. I'm going to give that one a heart just because of the plastic safety scissors thing. That does feel very Glockish. Same guy comes back again. My first memory of Glock is seeing all the feds carrying this plastic gun during Ruby Ridge and Waco. Oh, man. Whew. That's deep. We've talked a lot about Ruby Ridge and Randy Weaver and David Koresh and Waco, Texas, the so-called Branch Davidians. Just complete atrocities. Complete atrocities. Very, very sad time. We've talked about this a lot, so I'm going to continue, or else I could get into those for like an hour. Next one, like the new Chevy, quote, Blazer, total blasphemy. I haven't even seen the new Blazer yet, but just like a lot of stuff, man, it's a tried and true design. They come back and give it the same name, but like a little different tune, and it just turns into blasphemy. So I'll have to look into the new Blazer, but I have a feeling that might be a clever analogy, maybe just a little bit. Where are you guys at? Looks like a lively conversation in the chat over here. Let's went over and took a peek. Wow, are we getting emotional in the chat? Gerald Bonta, are you the Attorney General of California? Oh, that must be his cousin. I think his name was Rob Bonta. I don't know. All right, let's keep reading these comments, because if I get into reading all these chats right now, we might be able to keep this going for a minute. All right, the next comment. I believe that Glock is stopping production to civilians, not their government contracts. I don't think for a second this V model is going to put them in good faith with the civilian market. I agree so far. Bottom line is they took a knee without a fight, so why would I buy some V model? That's where I'm at. I think they took a knee. Yeah, there's 20 states suing them. Yeah, I know. I think this opens a lot of doors for Glock in the state of California. I think there's a lot more to this than what a lot of people know about right now, what a lot of people admit to. I need to wait for a few more things to come to light before I say too much more, but I have theories about all of this. And in my opinion, I have all this figured out, and I think it's way more sinister than most people even want to know it is, actually. I think there's a lot to this. There's many guns out there with a cruciform type trigger. Yes, I believe Glock took the knee. And in my opinion, they didn't have to do it this way, and I think it's disgusting they did. Because I also watched the snippet from a podcast that Brandon Herrera was on. He put out a $100 bounty for anyone that within a week, I think he said, or maybe he said the first day, I'm paraphrasing, can come out with a switch for the new V series. There's going to be a switch for the V series within seconds or minutes. You can't stop the signal. As the younger guys are already typing into the chats in their meme type of way they do, 3D printer go burr is the thing I've been seeing the most. Translate that into English for me, but that's what they're typing. Can't stop the signal. Printer go burr, and they put like BRRR. The second this new V series comes out, there'll be a switch for it before it actually hits like the first person's hands that bought it. Just consider it a foregone conclusion. That's the way it works. So I agree with this guy, this commenter. What's going to happen next? Oh, so they're just going to ban all these other gun companies out there? But are they all supposed to take a knee too? Because tons of people use this cruciform style trigger. But it doesn't matter what trigger you make in this day and age. There's going to be a happy switch for it within minutes. China pumps these in here. Alibaba, Wish, all these places. It's probably, in my opinion, our own CIA that's pumping them into this country. I mean, you guys remember Operation Fast and Furious from the ATF, right? So, like, here's the crazy part. First of all, you can't stop innovation. You can't stop technology. Second of all, I wouldn't put it past, because I've just seen it happen so many times, our own government flooding the streets with these to try to get a bigger agenda going. So it's this weird thing where people are going to keep saying over and over again, Glock had to do it. They had to do it. Had to do what? You know, and yeah, maybe eventually all 20 states suing them are going to take them under. Would you rather die fighting on your feet or live as a mostly peaceful slave on your belly? And the time for this has come a long time ago. It's time to draw a line in the sand and say, buck up or shut up. And that's why when I hear people saying, and again, I'm agreeing with this guy's comment, it's like, yeah, why would I support a company that just took a knee so quick? I get it. It's 4th and 30. There's 2 seconds left. You're down by 8. You don't take a knee, though, on the football field. You hand it to your running back. Maybe he'll get a couple key blocks. Maybe he can slip through the right hole. Maybe you can score the touchdown and then get the 2-point conversion. And the statistics of that happening are 0.001%, but at least you tried. At least make them tackle you right down to the ground before you end the game. There's a football analogy for all the first-order thinkers out there. And I think a lot of you get totally what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, for the first-order thinkers out there, because boy, have I realized a lot of this gun community is not very smart. But it's like, geez, oh, Pete, man. If the other side's trying to do something to you, at least, at the very, very least, you should be in it to win it. But at the very least, at least make them do it to you. But they might do this, so we need to self-restrict ourselves. There's probably already switches out for the V series right now, guys. They probably already exist before the gun even exists. It's just the way things work nowadays. And then what? Oh, but now we have to ban that. Oh, 20 states are banning this one, so now we have to ban that. But somebody stabbed someone with a fork, so I guess we get the spork. No, the end of the spork is a little bit too pointy. I guess we get the spoon. Go spoon with Newsom if you want to spoon with someone. I don't want the spoon. I want to eat with a fork. I don't want to dip my toast in milk. I'm a meat and potatoes guy. I want some meat that I have to cut with a knife and have a real man's dinner. For all you that want to have milk toast and you want to spoon with someone, go spoon with Newsom, go spoon with Glock. Have a nice life. Just don't let me see it. Because I don't even like being around that stuff anymore. So there's my whole rant on that. Fun to learn. If you guys remember, there was a guy that was just going in the chat. And I was like, man, dude, like, come on, man. Like, let's be cool. He kept on saying, but 2A EDU, you're not old enough to talk about this. Do you guys remember all that? He says, I'm 55 years old and you're not even old enough to talk about the assault weapons ban. I'm like, you're right. You got me. You got me. And I said, I'm sweet 16, never been kissed. And yeah, I'm aware of some new Taylor Swift songs because, you know, the daddy-daughter dance last year. She was 12 then. Now my beautiful 13-year-old daughter. I mean, come on, dude. What real man wouldn't want to go to the daddy-daughter dance? Of course you want to go. And I enjoyed going. The theme of it was called Taylor Swift Dance. They played a lot of Taylor Swift songs. There you go. You got me. So this guy literally comes in. Do you remember this? And he says, I'm 55 years old. You're not even allowed to talk about this. You're too young. I'm like, I know. Sweet 16, never been kissed. I'm a 16-year-old virgin, but someday I'll grow up old enough to, you know, someday. So with that said, that was literally going on in the chat of my last live stream. Fun to Learn comes in and leaves a comment and says, for a young whippersnapper, you sure do have a lot of knowledge. Well, thanks, man. He says, wish I could retain a portion of what you will forget when you make your way around the world. LOL. Well, thanks for the lighthearted and encouraging comment. Fun to Learn. I needed that because those of you guys that were in the chat, do you remember that guy? Oh man, like I wanted to like the guy, and I think I still do like him, if you want to know the truth. Don't get me wrong. But there was this guy in there, and he was just hammering me. True Edu, he said. You could see him in there. He's clenching his fist, and he's, uh, uh, uh. I'm like, dude, wipe that freaking milk off your chin, man. Here's the problem with these guys that dip their toast in milk, these milk toast guys. You can tell them from a mile away because they walk up to you. And then what's up with all these guys with a lisp nowadays? I'm just saying, it's a totally side topic, but and then there's milk dripping off of it. And it's like, dude, stop. Ugh. But other than that, I think me and this guy would be really good friends. But he just kept going the whole chat. He's like, no, and he's getting it. I mean, you guys that were there saw it. He just kept going. I'm like, dude, whoa. He's like, you are not old enough to talk about the 94 assault weapons ban. And I'm sitting there calm as a cucumber. I'm like, dude, guys, I remember the 94 AWB. In 94, I bought my first gun. It was an SKS. Now, this was a stupid thing for me want to do. They run the best just with the regular 10-round internal mag fed with stripper clips. That's the best way to run that gun. I love SKSs. I've added many to the collection since. I'm 15, my first gun, right? I want the banana mag, the 30-round detachable. You guys remember all that stuff, right? I'm like, nah, no big deal. I'll get one when I can. A few months later, AWB goes in. I go to the local gun show. I saved up my $10 for one because that's what they had cost like the day before. And then they're like $150. I'm like, whoa. At a really young age, I got acquainted with what an AWB was, and it hit me like right in the teeth. I had to save up cutting a neighbor's lawn for $5 a cut for like a whole summer to buy that SKS, and it was just north of $100. And I'm like, all right, now I'll spend $10 and get this 30-round mag. Whoa, 150? Wow. I started to learn what gun control was about when I was 15. Like, I had just gotten into it. And it was just funny. And that's why I thought Fun to Learns was a clever comment, because that guy was just grilling me like, you are not old enough to talk about this. I'm like, whoa, dude, relax, man. It's all good. Like, and then Dale comes in and he's like, okay, boomer, to the guy. We had fun with it. The guy's a terrific guy. If you're in the chat watching tonight, dude, you're terrific. I like you. Just stop dipping your toast in milk because it's kind of effeminate for my liking. Marco Polo came in, channel member. He said, guess my collection will only have one Glock and put it in a box. Okay, and that sucks, man. Look, I own a couple Glocks. I decided a long time ago they weren't my favorite gun, so I'm going to admit it's not as hard for me as it is some of you, where it's your favorite gun. You own so many, you want to buy more. Like, I really feel for you guys. I don't know what to tell you, man. But here's the thing, though. I'm not trying to tell you that you need to put it away and put it in a box. You still want to shoot it, you want to carry it, go for it, dude. Like, you didn't know what was going to happen when you bought it and whatever. If you decide you do need to put it in a box because you don't want anyone to see it because that's you promoting it, I fully respect that too, though. I fully respect the people that just want to put them away. I respect the people that want to sell theirs. I also respect the person that just needs to keep carrying it. So you're in a tough situation, but make your choice, man. Make your choice and, hey, just do what's best for you when it comes to that. And the next comment says, LOL, that doesn't stop all the copies made by different manufacturers. Yes. And I'm way more apt to want to support one of these other companies right now that doesn't call for gun control and that isn't pulling some BS and bending a knee. But here's the problem, man. It's that slippery slope. This opens the door, in my opinion, for all these types of pistols out there. And there's a vast amount of them. There's many of them where they can now probably, I guess we could call this the Newsom precedent, or maybe we should call it the Glock precedent, where Newsom says jump, you say how high. Newsom says get down on your knees, you get down on your knees and you just open your mouth as wide as you can. Maybe that's the new precedent, right? Yeah, I think that's the new precedent. Is that the new precedent in this country? California says jump. and you like jump, and then they say get down, and you get down and open your mouth wide, and you just go. Maybe that's why all these guys talk funny nowadays. I just thought of that. It's like, dude, why are all these people online? All these guys that are simping for Glock, why are they all talking like they got food in their mouth or something? Jeez. Hope they don't have anything in their mouth. Next comment says, piss on Glock. Yeah, I'm hoping somebody can hurry up and make that. Remember the old, like, on the trucks? It was that old comic book. It was Calvin and Hobbes. I'm dating myself. I know the one guy said I'm too young to talk about these things. But if I may date myself again, there was a comic book series. It was called Calvin and Hobbes. And it became very popular for a while where you'd have a Chevy man. And it'd show Calvin pissing on the blue oval, the Ford logo. Then the Ford man would show Calvin pissing on the bow tie. And then there was the if you can't dodge it, ram it guy. You guys remember those stickers? People put on their back window bumper stickers. Dude, that was fun back then. Do you guys remember that? When the United States used to actually have culture and guys would like 1 minute talk about their trucks and the next minute they'd be out back fighting each other about their trucks. And then before you know it, they'd be chain to chain, ripping the rear ends out of each other's truck just to prove they were a man. Like, I actually miss that kind of stuff. So we need a new one that shows that Calvin character. Come on, guys. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me know in the chat or on the replay, right? Where it just shows him pissing on the Glock logo. That's what I want right now. I would actually purchase that if I saw that available. You guys know what I'm talking about. Too many choices. See? You guys know, right? Mike McClune knows what I'm talking about. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, Randy Smith. Dude, we used to actually have culture back then, man. Like, dude, these guys were friends. Sometimes they'd have a few too many, and before you know it, all you hear is, and you hear, you look out back, and it's like, oh, geez, is that farmer cutting crops in the field back there? Oh, no, that's just old Jimmy and Freddie. They're frame to frame again. They just got in a pissing match about the bow tie versus the blue oval. And look, man, I mean, it was good times. Man, that was good times back then. Oh, man. All right, let's keep reading these comments. But that's what that reminded me of when this guy comes in and says, piss on Glock. I just think of that Calvin pissing on the Glock logo. And I do think that would be a stellar choice. Yeah. See, James remembers this stuff. And man, it just used to be a good time, man, hanging out with the guys and all that kind of stuff. And God bless you, Sully. All right, let's keep reading here. Do you guys like this format, by the way? If you do, I'm going to keep reading it. If you don't, I'm going to keep reading it anyways. All right. Ooh, here's a good one. We're going to like this one. Some of you will like this one, actually. Glock hasn't done anything anti-gun. We're back to this again. He needs to read the letter from Mr. Guevara. Look, there's a huge segment of the gun community right now. Glock has done nothing anti-gun. No, they literally called for gun control on their stationery. Like, I don't know what more. Okay, let me keep reading. Glock hasn't done anything anti-gun. If you were a dealer, you got the sheet from Glock months ago. Ooh. Is this like, hold on a minute, guys. Let's get really conspiratorial. DLD After Dark, I see you, man. Shout out to the DLD After Dark channel. I see him in the chat. I think I see a conspiracy here before I read any further. If you were a dealer, you got the sheet. Bum, 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 bum. Is that like if you get the call? Like some guy will be acting all buck, and then he'll get the call from this certain nation state in the Middle East. And it's like, ooh, they got the call. Is that what this is? Is this like super duper like New World Order? Wow. Okay, let me read this more. But you have to have the right mood music going. So dim your lights, light a couple candles, or maybe a certain array of candles in a certain type of holder, whatever you're into. And so the music that's playing right now when I read this is bum, 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 bum. Okay. If you were a dealer, you got the sheet. Whoa. From Glock months ago. with the Glock Gen 6 release and the Glock V, which the V is Glock's performance model. Well, first of all, if you got the sheet, then remember that movie where they're like, the call's coming from inside the house? Like, they got the call. Okay. Well, first of all, no, Glock put out a list of things that they were going to discontinue, and then they reneged on half of it. They said, yeah, we're working on a Gen 6. No, this V, they weren't on dealer sheets like a year ago or months ago. And second of all, the V's the performance model. Yeah, the sheet I saw from Lipsy says note. And here's a note to this guy and all these people that think this weird stuff. It says, note, the Glock performance trigger will not fit the V series. It doesn't tell you much about it, but the only thing you get to actually read on that sheet that was leaked or published or however it happened from Lipsy's, it says V series, and it shows you a list of models. You get like a couple pictures that don't show you enough to really draw much conclusion. But it says right on the bottom, asterisk, the Glock performance trigger will not fit the V series. So, wrong. Which is the V, which the V is Glock's performance model with performance trigger. Okay, well, it says that won't fit the performance trigger, so like whatever. Glock has been working on Gen 6 for a while. That would be compliant across the board. So they could stop with Gen 3. All right. See, oh man, I was hoping this was a nice guy, but I'm going to continue. Then he goes on to say, you people are so ignorant. It's not even funny. It would be funny, except for this guy's like, wow, this guy's too ignorant to laugh at. You people are so ignorant, it's not even funny. If you are a dealer and didn't get the latter months ago, then you're not a high enough volume. What? Why is it always the most ignorant comment you read is the one that's calling you ignorant? Can anyone answer that for me? It's always that way. The most ignorant comment that has the most provable fallacies in it is always the guy calling you ignorant at the end of the day. All right, here's the next guy. You think these guns haven't been years in the making? Question mark. Well, since you formed it in a question, no, I never said that. I think this plan's way more complicated and sinister than most people even want to admit to. I believe it's been in the making for a long time. So, asked and answered. I will continue. They didn't just come out overnight. These updated guns are now able to be sold in the third largest buying state, CA, which was only allowed Gen 3s. Now CA gets the latest generation. Now it will be difficult to ban the V Gen because it doesn't have the cruciform trigger bar. Thanks, Cap Obvious, but Captain Obvious was some of it, but the other part, no. Difficult to ban the B. They conjured up a gun control law, and within months, they had it passed and signed into law. How long do you think it will take for them to come out with whatever features they don't like about the V series, write a law for that? Look, all that's going to keep happening, you keep bending the knee, keep speeding this up, is there's just going to be the all semi-autos are banned period bill. Whoever doesn't think that that's their end goal, and then their end goal is further than that, just the all guns are banned period bill, end of story, sharp knives, forks, whatever. Look, these guys are going to make it where you have to cut your you-know-what off before you can bang your old lady. They're not going to stop before that happens. All right? You ain't going to be able to put nothing sharp in their eye anymore. If that's not obvious by now, I don't know what is. But, like, whatever. It's going to be so difficult for them to ban this. Yeah, right? They'll just write a new law within minutes. Or they'll threaten to, and they won't even need to. Because the cope mechanism is so high now, it'll just be like, hey, we think we might write. No, never mind, we can see it here. Take our V series. Then we'll get what? The W series, then the X series, and the Y series, the Z series. Remember the Walther P99, the final edition. They literally, that's their newest one. The final edition, it's called. Soon people will be excited, but 2A EDU, you don't understand. California's banned the last 7 things that Glock changed. But now they're going to come out with the final edition. They'll have that banned within seconds. Brandon Herrera offers someone $100 to make a switch for that too. Then the final edition will be banned in 10 seconds. I don't know. Aren't you all always complaining Glock keeps pushing out the same old gun year after year? I don't complain about that. So maybe are you talking to y'all or all's y'all's? You'll have to specify the difference because I don't really keep track of that too much because I've just been getting the PSA products because I like them better than the Glock counterpart. So I don't know. I don't do that. I'm not pushing for that. Next one, Hardline 2A says, I agree. And the problem is IV version switch will be made, guaranteed. Yeah, I agree. So this move will not do much long term except hurt Glock. Yeah, I'm afraid this is going to hurt him too in the end. Yeah. Now, you guys ready for a FUD comment? I just saw a FUD pop in. Here's a FUD comment for you. Get ready. Do you people really think 2A gives you a right to be reckless? Ooh. No, comma. It gives you a right to bear arms. Well, asterisk, keep and bear arms. That means that, yes, comma, you can own all the Glocks you want. It does not mean you can be reckless. Glock is taking care of the reckless part of it. Your right to bear arms is fully intact. That guy's a complete and utter FUD. And an ignorant FUD, because if you're going to like sanctimoniously try to quote the Second Amendment, don't leave like half of that section out. The right to keep and bear arms. Look, this is just a picture perfect of a FUD. Well, hold on. You're allowed to own all the Glocks you want, but it doesn't mean you're reckless. Excuse me? That means that if I want a full auto Glock or a full auto whatever, then I'm immediately just reckless? Let me guess. I don't need. Your right to keep and bear arms, or I'm sorry, your right to bear arms is fully intact. No, it's the right to keep and bear arms. FUD. Look, they quote the Second Amendment in a sanctimonious way, but they leave half of it off. So there you go. There's your classic FUD. You don't have the right to be reckless. Yeah, I know. Who said that I want to be reckless because I don't like seeing a gun company bend the knee to the California governor and their legislature? When did that mean I wanted to be reckless? Oh, by the way, I think full auto should be 100% lawful and as easy to buy as a paper clip at the store. You should be able to buy them by the box like office supplies, no background check. Yeah, all that means is I believe what the Founding Fathers wrote in 1789 and ratified as the supreme law of the land in 1791. So, in an attempt to try to call people like me reckless, you people, as they say, whenever someone starts off a sentence saying you people, you know they're sanctimonious and you know they're a real POS. You know, they've got lots of confidence problems and they've got lots of anger issues. You know all that immediately. As soon as they start off with, do you people really think? Yeah. I get it. These are people with no self-confidence and they want to run around. Oh, please, daddy government. My right to bear arms is still fully intact. Yeah. Oh, that's why we find ourselves like in the shape we're in. This is the classic FUD. Next question or next comment. This is a good one, actually. It says, hope you don't buy any more Glocks. It's a communist company. Hey, tell us how you feel, man. And yeah, I get it. The next one, not having to produce 2 lines, Gen 3 plus Gen X, CA roster, new Gen product, will help Glock consolidate their line and avoid the CA violations of the Constitution. On the surface, I hate the capitulation, but as a company, it makes all too much sense. Well, look, I think it makes a lot of sense if a company is more focused on, in my opinion, corporate greed and money than they are the Second Amendment. Now, this person doesn't say this part, but I'm going to say it because I've seen a lot of people say it. So this is not in this person's comment, but what people will usually say next is they'll say, and the sole reason for a company to exist is to make profit. Actually, no. No, actually. If you're selling certain people into certain types of nefarious work where they have bad things done to them for money, but there's tons of money in it, does that mean that's a perfectly acceptable business? What if they're young people? Well, by some people's logic, and again, not this guy, but it's closely adjacent. A lot of people say this. A lot of YouTubers are saying this crap. The only thing for a company to do is make money. It doesn't matter how they do it. That's just what they need to do. Oh, really? Really? And I'm having to dance around how I'm describing it because of where we're at right now. But those types of companies that traffic certain things, and do certain bad things, and young people get involved in it, and it's really atrocious. Well, by some people's logic in the gun community, that's a great company as long as it makes lots of money. They should traffic 10,000 more because then they'll make more money, and the only thing a company does is make money. See, that's why we're losing this darn country. That's why the only thing that's going to save this country is if we can somehow get our act together and have somewhat of a moral compass again. Because no, it isn't profit at all costs, no matter what, even if it's against the Constitution. What about a fentanyl dealer? 1 granule can kill somebody dead that quick. But there's good money in it, so it'd be a great business if they just sold as much of it as they could and killed as many people as possible, one might say, if they're trying to use this same logic. It doesn't matter what they do. It's a company. No matter how much they sell, no matter how much as long as they sell more, it doesn't matter what they're doing or how they got there, it's fine. No, I disagree with that. There's certain societal norms that we should be able to agree on that no, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you have to violate certain people and certain things to make money, you're antithetical to the Constitution. Like, how much longer can we keep accepting? Well, these foreign companies come into the U.S. and they hate our Constitution and they hate America and they hate the Second Amendment. Now, I don't know if Glock falls under all of those, but I do know they've called for gun control. And the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. And when you call for gun control, it makes me come to no other conclusion that you hate the Second Amendment. Well, guess what, pal? Guess what, company? I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how good it is for your trash company. Love it or leave it. In this country, we have the Second Amendment. If you don't like it, then go back to your country where you don't have the Second Amendment. It's that simple. You want to be a good American? You want to be a good American company? Welcome, great. As soon as you hate the core constructs of this company, which means a certain moral compass, and it means things like the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, as soon as you hate it, get the F out. Get out of here. Speak English or get the crap out. Follow the supreme law of our land, in this case, the Second Amendment, or get out. Because here's the crazy part about all this. How good are Glock civilian sales in Austria? Oh, wait, let me guess. Not many. Probably virtually zero. Oh, that's right. They don't have a Second Amendment, do they? So you want to operate in a company with the Second Amendment so you have millions of people. I've heard the stat up to maybe 13 million civilians can buy your product. You sure loved having the Second Amendment there, didn't you, Glock? Now you call for gun control, which in my opinion means you hate the Second Amendment? No, get out. Get out of my country. I want my country back. I'm sick and tired of these foreign companies coming over here trying to tell me how I have to live in my own country. And again, that commenter didn't say that, but this goes along with it. Because I've heard a lot of these so-called gun tubers, these whatevers, lately saying stuff like, yeah, well, the only thing a company in the United States has to worry about is making as much profit as they can. Really? Really? Well, yeah, I'm sure that is the way it is now. Because there virtually is no moral compass left in this country. The Second Amendment's been infringed on 20-something thousand times on the federal level. Doesn't mean I want it to happen again, though. Doesn't mean that I like it. So I'm calling it out and telling you the way I see it, in my opinion. The next one. I don't like rap and I listen to Tom McDonald. Haha. That was because we were talking about listening to music. And I said, guys, I don't like rap, but Tom McDonald seems pretty based. And I think he has a good message going for him with the stuff that I've heard and read, So, and then this guy came back and said, I don't like rap either, but I listen to Tom McDonald. I got you. No, Tom McDonald seems like a cool dude. I just haven't listened to much of it because I, just don't listen to that type of music too much. DLD After Dark says, agreed to AEDU. We have lost ourselves and our country has abandoned God. We need to let Christ back in our lives. Can I get an amen? Well, amen, sir. Amen to that for sure. No, it's just like this whole thing, though. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's been said so many times, like a company just needs to make profit as much as they can at all costs. And I'm like, really? At all costs? Like, there certainly has to be some things that you wouldn't violate. Some things that it seems like you would still just hold sacred as a human being, where you wouldn't make money at the expense of certain things. And then when it comes in like the 2A space, it's like, dude, if but not for the Second Amendment, you wouldn't even have this vast opening of people to sell to. So it seems like to me, if you're in the gun business in the United States, and you can't hold the Second Amendment like sacred as far as the laws go, like what do you have anymore? I guess just make as much money as you can while you can, and then just watch it all burn, and it'll suck to be the next generation. I guess that's probably the answer. Right, Bill Camper? No, it is globalism. It is. See, there's my girl, Rosie. I love Tom. Also don't like rap. LOL. It's hard not to like someone talking truths. No, I hear you guys. What's up, JJ Rainey? How you doing, man? You have a great weekend too, dude. Have fun at work. I'll be working this weekend too if it makes you feel better. I mean, there's subjective morality. Garen Wilson, I hear you. But, like, here's the thing, though. Like, there should just be a few basic things out there that, like, should just become, like, objective morality, right? Like, we could all disagree on so many things, but it would be great if just, like, virtually everybody could agree, like, you probably shouldn't be, like, manufacturing and selling fentanyl. Like that should be just, like, objectively an immoral thing to do, right? And then, like, it should just be objectively, and you think everyone's moral ethos, that you don't traffic people, especially like of really young ages, and use them for certain very bad deeds. And I have to watch how I dance around this topic, but it's a huge problem. And there's just certain things, like, you can't do certain things to like a small child. Like, you just think there would be things like this that everybody could agree on. And then you would also think that in a country where the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and then the Constitution furthers itself the second time it was amended by saying the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, you'd think that would be an objective truth when it comes to the law. But it just ain't that way anymore. Let me keep reading here. This is a long one here. This one says, last night I bought a Glock 26 Gen 5 MOS, and I've come to the conclusion already, guys, that their sales are through the roof right now. They're doing better than they've ever done before, probably breaking every record for every profit you can think of. So that part, I know. Let's see here. I was going to get their pistol in January, but after I heard what was happening, I went ahead and ordered it. Why? It's because I have a very large amount of money tied up in Glock. For example, I own 95 factory Glock magazines, and the cross-compatibility of magazines is the main reason I'm a Glock owner. Yes. I know other firearms have cross-compatibility, but I started with Glock, so I overcomplicate things. I get it so far. I'm not supporting Glock financially, so we probably disagree there, but and I still feel the same way as I did then. I'm not condemning the man because he decided to buy himself a Glock. I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that then. I still don't want to do that now. So I'm still with this guy so far, actually. Started with Glock, so doesn't want to overcomplicate things. Yep, I get that. Now that I have all the Glock models and the quantities of them I want, will I buy another Glock? Very unlikely. Okay. But this is not an American company, and they can do whatever the hell they want, and they don't have to respect our Second Amendment. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I might have to start disagreeing with my friend now. Just because the country starts with an A doesn't mean it's America or they hold our values. Well, actually, I didn't even know this comment was coming up, but I actually just addressed that a minute ago. Yeah, they actually have to do, they do have to, if they're going to sell here in America. Yeah, see, this is not arguing in good faith, my man. It's just not. Okay, so hold on a minute. This is just so long-winded. I usually don't read these novels, guys. By the way, if you guys ever want me to read your comment, don't write me a novel. I just don't freaking have time, okay? It's like, it's just too much to read. This thing's like super thick. Okay, but this is not an American company, and they can do whatever the hell they want, and they don't have to respect our Second Amendment. Just because the country starts with an A doesn't mean it's America or they hold our values. Period. All that was one run-on sentence. No punctuation, no whatever. But here's the thing. No, you're wrong. Yes, they're an Austrian company. If they stay over there in Austria, then I don't give a crap what they do. Why would I care? It's none of my business. America first. Our country's in too much damn trouble right now for me to worry about any of these other countries. Our problem is, what is Glock doing here in America right now? That's what I have a problem with. I'm not the only one that has a problem with this, by the way. So no, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. It's cute. Well, just because this starts with an A doesn't mean that starts with an A. Whatever. That's cute, but it's actually not very cute. It reminds me of that song, B stands for, and I can't sing it because we're on YouTube, but it's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. They both start with A. No. Go over in Austria and do all that BS, and you won't even hear me mention it. I'm going to carry my new 26 with no shame because I know when I pull the trigger, it will go bang. Well, you don't know that. You better practice, man. I still like you. Even though I disagree with you, I want you to be safe. Don't just assume that. You still have to get out there and break it in. Okay? You have to break it in because I don't care if it's a Glock or whatever. All Glocks do not work. There's been Glocks that don't work too. Always practice with that gun. Don't ever get cocky and just say, I know it's going to go bang no matter what, because just practice, man. I want you to be safe. He continues, I have a key mod AR-15, and I'm still getting key mod parts. What, from like Wish and Alibaba? After all these years of key mod being discontinued, Glock aftermarket parts will never be unattainable. All right, that's just too long, man, but I wish you well, and practice with that gun to make sure you're safe. This one's funny. Next guy comes in. It's hip to be square. Because I was talking how I was a square in that last stream. And I literally remember that commercial where they had like a little jingle they'd say and say, it's hip to be square. Remember that? I said, I remember that, LOL. He comes back, haha, and says, hello from Muskegon. Well, hello, Muskegon. And shout out to a fellow Michiganian. Even though I think as we read further, somebody actually got mad at me because they don't want to be called a Michiganian. Next comment. They'll make more money in the end. I agree. Next one. Been a Glock fan for a very long time. You can see my name on here as Mr. Glock. But unfortunately, Glock has went the wrong way, and I'm not happy about it. So maybe it's time for a change. Yeah, I see. His name is Mr. Glock. It sucks to be you, man. It does, too. When you're that into something and they betray you and you're mad, just think about it and make a good choice. You know? This other guy just comes in and simply says, you're an idiot, dude. Jealous a bit much? Sorry, dude, but I'm actually taken and I don't swing that way. So if you're going to flirt with me, you got to do a little better than that. The next guy comes in and says 100% with 3 exclamation points. Right on. The next guy comes in. Glock isn't going anywhere, dude. Baderp, baderp, baderp. Dude, I never said Glock was going anywhere. I just said they're canceling all of their gun models, but like 2, which they are. So I don't know where you're going, dude, but I never said they were going anywhere. The Glock is going to, they're breaking every record probably right now, if I had to guess. Financial record. All right, here's the next one. Wait, fellas, don't burn your bra or Glock hat just yet. Dude, what's up with all these underlying like homo things, man? Ugh. This gun community is starting to give me the EBGBs. It's like, geez, oh, Pete. Is there even any place left in this country for a white, Christian, conservative male left anymore? Heterosexual male left? Man, these homo vibes tonight are just like, whew. If Glock changes their minor part that keeps criminals from installing an illegal part in their pistol, I don't mind. Oh, there's a FUD. There's a FUD. Oh, boy, we have a classic FUD here with certain tendencies to him, in my opinion, as well. He says, I don't mind. Why are you female dogging? Because this is a family-friendly channel, but he's using the swear word. Why are you people acting like a female dog, he says. Do you think that changes their gun so that criminals can't make an illegal gun out of their product is a bad thing? Okay, this is FUD as all get out and so incoherent. I'm not even going to edit for him. Why is it always the people? I think it's called, Mateo, remind me if I'm wrong here. I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The dumber people are, the dumber they are. It's just like this weird thing. And then they just double down on dumb and they come at you like super aggressive. It's always these people that can't even put together any coherent sentence. They don't understand the relationship of verbs and adverbs. They don't understand punctuation. The subject and the verb are backwards. They don't understand the nuances of like there, T-H-E-I-R versus T-H-E-R-E. It's just for some reason, it's always the same people, man. It's like, geez, oh, Pete's no wonder. We have like a first grade reading level, a first grade writing level, but we whine like crazy, and everyone's like tutti frutti pebbles too all of a sudden. Like, no wonder this country's going to hell. Are you really? Are you not really siding with criminals? Now, I know that's a FUD statement, but are you not really siding with criminals? Well, guess what, buddy? I'm not. Keep counting. Did I do enough negatives to make it a positive? Are you not really siding with criminals? Good one. If Glock would provide an upgrade part that makes the old models impossible to convert, would you buy it? No, I don't support companies that are anti-gun. I don't support companies that call for gun control. Like, this guy didn't listen to my video, or he wouldn't be asking me this question. Think for yourself, period. Well, yeah. You need to think a little bit more. Figure out how to write where I can read it. Why should Glock fight to continue to provide a gun that accommodates criminal activity? Question mark. All right, I'm done with this guy. The next one, PSA and the clone companies are going to be super busy. Yeah, I know, but then like all of a sudden, if all of this stuff gets banned, that has a cruciform trigger, it could take out like large segments. So don't get too cocky, guys. Don't get too cocky about, well, there'll be infinite aftermarkets and other companies. Not if this whole Glock / Newsom precedent really, really takes in. That's what I am worried about, the slippery slope. All right, let me get through these a little quicker here. Next guy says, never buying anything Glock again. Hey, man, if that's what you're into, you do you. You guys have noticed, though, right? I have strong opinions on all this. I've never told any of you all what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy. I've never told any of you what you need to get rid of either. I'm not doing that. That's not my motivation. I'm just telling you my opinions. This guy says, It's the jungle. Okay. Primates with the switches. Who did it? Welcome. V series. Yeah, I agree. Throw it for my pleasure. What's happening, man? How you doing? If you're watching live or on replay, this is a longtime friend of mine here. Throw it for my pleasure. He's good people. He says, it isn't logical to buy Glock. The amount of striker-fired polymer wonders is shocking. The only voting that matters is where you spend your money, not the corrupt ballot box. I like where you're heading with that. I completely understand what you're saying there. I do. Next comment says, Glock died. Guessing Glock did, but the company is very well alive. Threaded for my pleasure comes back and says, no more Glocks for me. Understood. Next guy says, never own a Glock and never wanted to. Hey, I understand. I bought a couple of them because I don't just say I don't like something unless I never tried it. And I'm assuming this guy probably tried it and just never owned one. I don't know. You should at least shoot any gun before you know if you don't like it or not, though, right? No, I own Glocks, and I've shot a lot of other ones, even more than what I own, and they're just not my favorite, right? Never had anything against them until they called for gun control, though. I mean, they weren't for me, but I never had anything like against them. Like, I didn't talk smack about them until they called for gun control as a company. Next guy says, we'll never buy another Glock. Understood? Next guy says, look at Canada. Yeah, that shows they'll just ban everything. All semi-autos. That's coming next. The next one says, The announced a number of months ago they were going to streamline their product production. Besides, who would want to do business in this anti-gun country? Yeah, well, if you don't want to do business here, then get out. That's great with me, actually. I'm getting sick of people that come to this country and don't like our Second Amendment Constitution. So, yeah, if you don't want to do business here, great. Now get out. The next one, which is a nice comment. Thank you. This guy's name's John Deere. Nice. He says, yours is the only gun channel that I hit thumbs up before I start watching. Well, thank you. And don't forget, guys, to leave a thumbs up on this stream if you're watching live or on replay. Next guy says, actually, any Glock in any store is already... Actually, okay, hold on. Let me read this again. Actually, any Glock in any store is already out of Glock's inventory, and the only person going to get hurt is the store, not Glock. Just saying. No, I completely disagree with that. No, here's how this works, just so you know. It starts off with the gun shop buys from a distributor buys from Glock. When the retail store runs out of the stuff in their showcase, then they order more from the distributor. When the distributor runs low, or at the very least runs out, but once they start getting lower, then they order more from Glock. Glock fills them from their back room. Once those inventories get depleted and they're down to very little left, or let's just say none left, then they make more. So actually, no, buying a new Glock is supporting Glock no matter what. And if you don't buy a new Glock, you are financially hurting. Yes, your local gun shops are going to get caught up on this, no doubt. But it's not fair to say that you're just the only person you're going to hurt the store in that Glock. That's just not true, man. I mean, I want to be with you on this. I just can't agree to that. That's not true. It's a provable fact. It's just the way commerce works. I own a small business. I know many friends that own retail businesses. If you are buying a brand new Glock right now from a stocking dealer, you are supporting Glock no matter what. If you refrain from buying a Glock, you are hurting Glock right now no matter what. Now, the next argument, which is not brought up here, is, are you hurting them enough for them to care? Probably not. Do they probably just care about military and Leo contracts so much they couldn't care less if half of us didn't buy them? In my opinion, that's probably also true. But no, it's just not the way it physically, logistically works. You are hurting more than just the local gun dealer if you don't buy a Glock. Now, you guys all need to make up your mind if you want to boycott or hurt anybody financially, okay? That's for you to decide, not me. But it's just not the way it works. It just isn't. The next one, it is what it is. Adapt and act accordingly. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. So I guess just whatever. Who cares? I mean, whatever on that. Divide and conquer. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, we're divided like crazy. Oh, yeah, we're divided like crazy. That's why this channel's been sitting at 77K subs for like 90 days. Because I don't know, like, you're not supposed to say anything bad no matter what about something that somebody likes. Ferocious Kitsu, I agree. If the local doesn't sell a Glock, the local will hopefully get it back by selling some other brand. That's very plausible as well. And again, I'm not telling you guys to buy or not to buy. I've not said that even once. I told you I ain't buying nothing from that company. If anyone wanted to know my opinion, and if you didn't ask me my opinion, then just disregard what I just said, right? Okay, the next one. One World Order 666 is here. Stand till death. Well, I talked about that earlier. I think it's better to die on your feet than to be crawling around on your belly, begging for a morsel. Mark of the beast. There's other countries right now that you have to have a digital ID to trade. It's getting really scary. Next one. This is quite sad. If they caved like this, they'll sue the aftermarket companies out of existence as well. And that's what I'm like super worried about right now. This is, I'm afraid this could be a very slippery slope, and I hope I'm wrong. Probably not wrong, but I hope I am. Next one. You are right on, my friend. Well, thank you, Terry. The next one. I wonder what this will do for the aftermarket Glock parts. Well, the aftermarket's going to aftermarket until all of that gets banned too. The next one, Glock self-delete. The next one. I agree with you 100%. Well, thank you. I told you guys, I like people that agree with me. People that don't like me so much, maybe we can still be friends. Probably not, but maybe. Actually, we may be later. Maybe later. Jeff comes in, Jeff Huntley, and says, good to hear someone calling out Springfield Armory. Been a while, and most have forgotten. I haven't forgotten, man. Ruger, they're good to go now. Bill Ruger's gone. You know, Bill Ruger's gone. Dennis Reese, as long as he's still the head of Springfield, I ain't giving him another penny. But I haven't, like, burned all my stuff that I had. There's no effigies of him outside or anything like that. I mean, I did see something just burning out there across the ship. I'm like, the boys are just having their local meeting this week. You know what I mean? Let's see here. But I'm not burning effigies of Springfield or Glock or anything like that. Seems every weird new scam that comes along. I'm happy to support PSA. I'll tell you what about PSA, man. They put tons of money in with frack and all that. They're really going for it big time coming up here. They've helped fight off the brace ban rule, and now they're really going to try to eliminate 3/5 of the NFA once those $0 tax stamps hit. I love it when a company puts tons of money into the Pro 2A fight. Business is good. Now let's fight for the 2A. Love it. So I will give PSA a big shout out for that as well. And then he says, everything woke goes to shite. I agree. And then the next one, this is funny. Says, there's a laughing emoji. Glock was the Glock killer after all. Oh, that's good. The next one, the one constant, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, granted and denied by God and God alone. Hey, I'm going to give that one a thumbs up. Here, good sir. The next one says true, spelled Truuu. Well, I think that makes it very true then, doesn't it, sir? The next one, bring a new picture. Of what? What do you want a picture of? No, you're not getting a picture of that, dude. Guys, how many times do I have to say this? And you guys remember this that were in my last stream. You know you do. I'm sweet 16, never been kissed. You guys ever heard that saying? If not, go ask your grandmother. She knows it, okay? I'm too innocent for this crap. I don't swing that way. I'm not going to send you a picture of my you-know-what or my you-know-where. Like, it ain't going to happen, dude. Like, I don't know how else to keep telling these people this. But no, this bring a new picture. No, I'm not doing that, okay? I'm way too innocent for you people. And when I do get old enough to breed, trust me, it's not going to be with you, dude. Like, it ain't going to happen. So, I don't know, man. I mean, how much more clear can I make to this? I'm not into you. Like, okay. Like, you're just going to have to deal with it. Ooh, this is an interesting one. This one's a whole thread. The next one. Wow. People asking me for my pictures. I mean, come on, dude. You can't make this stuff up. I'm like, no. Ain't going to happen, man. All right. This next one comes in and says, you know, Glocks aren't the only polymer frame handguns, and there is Steyr, is the other Austrian gun maker, and the M40-A1 40 S&W is way more ergonomic than a Glock. Good, sir. I like where you're heading with this, I think, but please use some punctuation. Let me try to read this again. You know, Glocks aren't the only polymer frame handguns, and there is Steyr. Yeah, I have a Steyr M9 pre-A1, actually. I have like one of the first small batch of Steyr pistols ever brought into the country. So, yes, I've heard of them. It reminds me of this one guy years ago. Do you remember that, Mateo? He's like, hey, you ever heard of a Mosin Nagant? No, do tell. Tell me about the 50 of them I'm looking at right over yonder. You know, it's like, but there you guys go. He's letting you know there is another Austrian gun. It's Steyr. Way more ergonomic, he says. I agree it's more ergonomic too. Okay, whatever. 40, I can't stand the cartridge. So there you go. Shout out to all my 40 friends, by the way. Shout out to you if that's what you're into. So then the reply to this one is from Dave Jackalope. Ooh, I like this guy. They made fun of people for jackalopes for so many years, and now there's literally like realistically proven pictures of rabbits with horns now. Jackalopes were real the whole time. Shout out to my man Dave Jackalope, because if you guys don't believe me, go look into it. There is rabbits now, and they're growing. They're like horns coming out. I'm thinking myself, dude, I've always known jackalopes are real. My dad's had a picture of a jackalope in the garage since I was like a little kid. Like, obviously they're real. Everybody knows it. But anyways, Dave Jackalope says, cool story, bro. There's like 1 million polymer pistols available. You pick that? LOL. Styler barely makes anything for the civilian market. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Russell. Dave is correct, though, on that. Like, Styler does barely make anything. I'm just like super like OG. I'm like the original generation of a lot of this. I literally have like the OG Steyr M9 pre-A1. See? Bruh, are you old school like the A1? Nah, bruh. I'm old school like the pre-A1. But look, that's like esoteric stuff here we're getting into. It's like, yeah, I know, right? But like, not that I'm looking at one over there. Whoever's working at YouTube, shout out. We're not even anywhere near one right now. But not that I'm not looking. How did that one guy word it in that comment earlier, guys? 2AE to you. It's not that you're not. So I'm not. It's not that I'm not looking at a Steyr pre-A1 M9. Not. For real. There you go. Now I sound like one of my commenters. Yeah. So he comes back and says, cool story, bro. There's like 1 million polymer pistols and you pick that? Ooh, this is getting spicy. I think this is all in good fun, though. Then Mateo comes in and says, well, thank you for telling everyone you're new without actually saying so, noob. All right, now they're ribbing each other. This is good, though. This reminds me of like Calvin pissing on the bow tie, and then the next guy has Calvin pissing on the blue oval. Like, whatever, dude. Like, let's just rip on each other and say 40 sucks, too, while we're at it. So Mateo goes, well, thank you for telling everyone you're new without actually saying so, noob. That bit obvious aside, he has a pre-A1 Steyr, which is true, I do. So, yeah, cool story, brah. How much did AI assist you with your comment? Inquiring minds want to know. Now the OP comes back. He's fighting back. Here comes Russell in the back stretch. Yep. He says again. He says that Mateo again. What is your troll ASS referring to? What you posted is gibberish. Ooh, I thought these guys were having fun. Maybe not. Mateo comes back. Isn't that just precious? Of course you think it's gibberish. You're displaying your reading comprehension deficit. And by the sound of it, is pretty severe. Bless your little soul. And then the OP comes back again and says, at Mateo, How high was your troll ASS posting this gibberish? Wow. All right, these guys just need to go frame to frame, direct chain, wrapped right around the rear axle. Somebody's literally going to lose one of those pinion gears. Or like, yeah, or this didn't even happen. That's what we have to do. Right now, both of them in the field out back or the field on the side. There's fields on multiple sides of where I sit here. You guys pick the field. Let's chain up. Axle to axle. We're going to settle this once and for all, boys. Mateo will probably get him, though, actually. That's the crazy part. I think, well, we'll see. Good luck, Russell Weber. Good luck. Jason says, thank you for sharing your opinion, man. Glock is my favorite pistol all time. Newsom infringed the Second Amendment. Hey, man, Newsom did, yes. That's true. And enjoy your Glock, sir. Harry Grimley comes in and says, thank you, sir, for sharing this with us. Good stream. Well, thank you, Harry. And this was the last one I'm reading, which was the first one, because I was reading in reverse order. Christopher Bishop says, Glocks, ... Yep. And you are surprised. And I said, me? I'm certainly not surprised. And then he said, well, sir, I've never owned nor would own a Glock, let alone polymer firearms. I prefer my tools to feel like tools. And, that has always been a thing, though, just to be fair. Polymer pistols have never appealed to anybody. There's always been the whole thing out there where some people just like a metal framed gun, and they just like to have a little more, meat on the bone. And I understand it. I like both of them, actually. I mean, Glock's not my favorite gun, never has been, but I like polymer guns too, and all that. Jeff and Kaylee just came in, channel member and a super chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And says beverage refill. Thanks, brother. Well, I do appreciate that. You can see I've got just this much cranberry juice left. So I could definitely use a little refill. I just read over 100 comments. So that's all the comments from the last week's stream. Now, not live chats. That's different. These are all the comments that people left on replay. And you can see that there are some varying opinions on this, to say the least. And thank you again for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. And there he is right there, Christopher Bishop. He says, and that's the end of my story. Well, sorry to put you last, man. I explained at the beginning I had to do them in newest first, which is reverse chronological order, because YouTube probably had at least 10 of those comments shadow banned. And by doing new at first, it's kind of a loophole where you can read some of them. And then there's other ones that I'll never know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So there might be someone watching right now being like, dude, I actually left a comment on your last week's stream. And if YouTube completely got rid of it, then I would have never even seen it to begin with. And they do that sometimes. They really do. And then we get in sad situations where people be like, dude, what the heck? You deleted my comment on this video. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing any comment from you, man. Like, what did it say? And he's like, I said, I love you like a brother to AE to you, and you deleted it. I'm like, no, dude, that was the ghost of Susan Wiki deleting it. She didn't like that. She wants me to have low self-esteem. She wants me to give in to some of the lustful, not so straight desires of some of my viewers. I'm not going to do it. But, she doesn't like it, So it's just a weird thing. A lot of comments get messed with on this site. You get what's going on. No, Christopher Bishop, he's been watching this channel a long time. You get it, man. IWI's fighting words. Are you guys into a little bit of IWI or IMI? I mean, I don't know. But I always thought they should do for some of those. Right, DLD? For some of those particular guns, like your Tavors and all that, I'd like to see them take a small little covering, you know what I mean? Maybe shape it like a little hat, for example. Something real tiny, like a hat, and you could put it over the top of it, and it would shield it from the shade. I think that's a good invention. Someone needs to come up with that. You could just call it the tiny little ejection port, rain, snow, and sunshade. And then someone might look at it and be like, that almost looks like a tiny little hat for my little Tavor there. How cute. And then the business is going to be born, and it's going to be tiny gun hats. You know the thing. And then before you know it, boom, it's going to blow up. Business will be good till they get the call. Think about this. You guys hear this, right? Conservatives will be like, ooh, Nick Fuente's got the call. Then, so tiny little gun covering, tiny gun hats, just for no particular reason. I have no idea why I'd say this, but probably they just start off with making them for the, the Jericho, the Galil, and the Tavor, Uzi. I'm just thinking of all the different guns of the world, just random ones right now, no particular reason. And they'll put it out, and it'll be the best idea ever until, like that one guy said earlier, the Glock dealers, they got the letter. Did you guys remember that one? 280, you don't understand. Any dealer, he got the letter. In this case, tiny gun hats, business is booming, and then they get the call. All of a sudden, immediately, like, what's that, Mr. Newsom? We'll ban all of our guns. And Newsom will be like, yeah, that's old hat. Now we're coming after all the rest of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. I do like me some hummus. And actually, where was that actually even invented? Bagels. Bagel. I've been known to eat a bagel every once in a while. I do have the old Century original parts kit, the UC9 with the long barrel. Gosh, I've had that thing. I can't see it from here, I promise. I've had that thing for, 20 years. Yeah, DLD. Any dealer that's worth their salt got the letter months ago. You are so late to 80. LOL. That's what he's trying to say. I don't know, man. Hummus is Middle Eastern. Is it really? Does hummus come anywhere near that? Like, all I know, here's the thing with all this crap. All I know is I'm sitting here taxed to no end. And there's just always this certain place somewhere where it's like, oh, well, they're more important to America's. That this place survives is more important to American survival than if America survives. And I'm like, no, just leave me the hell alone. I've got the Austrians over here going after my Second Amendment. I've got Americans after my Second Amendment. I've got everybody after my Second Amendment. Oh, but you don't understand 2AEDU. All of our money has to go to this very specific little area. It has to go to this one specific place for some reason or another. Just don't care anymore about any of them. Oh, but you need to care more about them than America. What's best for them is better than what's best for America. Oh, this is making me so hungry. I need to sit here and eat bagels and oy vey. Oy vey. All right. Let me read these chats just for a minute here. And then I am going to jump off and go grind some chickpeas and falafel and whatever. I don't know why. The Masada Slim. That sounds like a good one. I'll have to look into that. What's up, too many choices? I mean, small hat shell catchers. I like that. This is good. I like this. See, I am tolerant after all. I'm very tolerant. See, Darth dancing. See, they're bringing out the tolerance in me right now. Every 1352 should have a Glock switch. See how tolerant I am? Look at me. Guys, the less you care, the happier you will be. No, that's true. That's why I am. I'm leaving the stream on a good note right now. I like being in a good mood. Make Argentina great again. The Argentinian beef? Yeah. I mean, Randy Smith, no, we know it's Taco Bell time. Did I just lie to you guys the whole time? Tiny beanie people. What's happening, random guy from Haas? You guys are in a good mood tonight. I like this. I read all of those comments, and look how good of a mood we're all in. Guys, don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you here. If you guys are in Michigan, don't forget that Second Amendment rally this Wednesday, like coming up here in 5 days, I think it is. On the post section of my YouTube page, you can see it. I also posted it on X. Make sure you guys are checking out that X and Locals feed because there is awesome stuff right now that a lot of you might definitely like. Robert Arnett just said, yes, sir, which I like. I like that kind of attitude. In a good mood, right, Robert? My off-grid buddy. Okay, so poor man's gold. Off-grid buddy who shut down the internet. An entire country. Wow, released a music album. Oh, wow. Well, we can't share the links to that in here, but that's just because of the rules of the chat with YouTube. All right. Yeah, see, Robert's having a good time for sure, man. Nice. And Vince Metzger, there he is. What's happening, Vince? How you doing, man? He said, thanks for the session. Sorry you had to read those comments. No, dude, it was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the chat last minute here or in the old replay section down in the comments. But you guys that are watching live can come back and leave a comment later too, obviously. Right, Mike McClune? What's happening, Mike? What's happening, DB Cooper? DB Cooper, what happened to all that money, man? What'd you do with all that money that you took? Ferocious Kitsu. Do you think me and you can get to the bottom of where our boy DB Cooper put all that money? We need some money, don't we, Kitsu? We need some money so we can start up this tiny head coverings for certain types of random guns. We need some startup money here. We'll be good. Let's go get that DB Cooper. Right, Harry Grimley? What's up, Harry? Taurus G33C. Heck yeah, man. That's an excellent pistol, in my opinion. Big fan of the Taurus G3C for sure, dude. M&P over Glock. M&P are great guns. I will say that for sure. What's up, 2A fam? Oh, who's this? At WH07-K9B. Is that who I think it is? Oh, what's happening, man? Nice to see you. YouTube changed a lot of your names right now. You guys can see this. I think this is my long-lost friend I used to know. What's happening, man? How you doing down south? I mean, he's still my good friend. He's just long-lost because YouTube's messing with you guys' names big time. Eric Johnson says, I have what I have. I enjoy all my firearms. Well, nice, man. No, you should definitely enjoy them. Enjoy what you guys have for sure and be very grateful of what you have. What's up, Ego Riser? What's up, Ruger L7157? Nice to see you too. They've changed all of your names like big time in this chat right now. It's like, You know what I'm saying, Vendetta Star? They're changing your names, right? No, Mateo's name's exactly the same. Now, it's for when YouTube switched to that @ thing like a year ago. Those of you that actually took the time to go in there and change your @ to your name, but people that just didn't care or didn't know about it, now all of your @ names are coming in, and it's really messing with like me recognizing all my friends' names in here. Yeah, Darth Danson says, yeah, PSA put their money where their mouth is. I agree. Big shout out. And Lyle Smith, yes, sir. PSA standing tall. I just like it when companies do this stuff. Ooh, James Rockburn. Don't give away pictures. Do a calendar and sell it. Well, thank you, man. I need to start this new merch line, don't I? Eric Johnson says, well, I've had all the fun I can handle tonight. Y'all have a great night. Stay real, 2AEDU. I am staying real. As popular or unpopular as that may well be. Joe Morris, what's happening, Joe? Passed up a UC9 for $600 back in the day. Mine was something similar to that, if not maybe even a little less. I don't know what they go for today, but I have had one for a while. The old Centurion, mine's called. I think it's called Centurion UC9. Ferocious Kitsu. It looks the same to me, right? Like Vince Dash Metzger. Some of you guys, I feel terrible. See, it's like, there you go, Pillbox Bunker. Of course I know Pillbox from around town, but now it's at Pillbox Bunker 6735. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I think there's actually some nefarious conspiracy theory with what they're doing to y'all's names. I still like you guys a lot, trust me, but it's like, first of all, it's really annoying because I think WH dash whatever, I think that's somebody I know quite well, but could it be an imposter? I just don't know. And there's just something like nefarious and weird about all this. And I don't like it how they mess with all of your names. I don't hate your names. It's just like, you know what I'm getting at. I don't like what they're doing here. I just want it to be where it's like, there's good old so-and-so, and I can actually like read their name. There we go, Gort. What's happening, Gort? At Gort 4016. Okay, see, there's something nefarious with this, but good to see you, Gort. And thank you for being a member for 50 months. Wow, dude, that's a long time, man. Thank you for so much support. I really appreciate it. And he says, thanks for the live stream, 2A. Have a good weekend. You too. I'm going to try to get on tomorrow night or Sunday night to do a local stream. I will post it as soon as I can. Keep in mind, as soon as I know for sure, it's rained for like 5.5 days straight here before today. So I'm really trying to catch up on outside work. And it does make it tough. So we've got Stefan Molnapur, 910. See, it's like I have to read these names for the first time every time. And it says my name has changed. I know. And Darth Danson, YouTube's trying to confuse us. Who's who? The war on the 2A never ends. I know. Where is the rally? Check out the community post that I made. And on my YouTube here, on my channel, go to the YouTubes, right? And check out on my channel where it says posts. And then I also posted it on X and Facebook and all that. And it will tell you the details. Capital steps. And I want to leave this on a good note because I did have a good time hanging out with you all. It's just getting hard at the end that all of your names are just changing as fast as I can try to read them. And there's just, I don't know what it is yet. Okay. We'll figure this out over time. But it just has the vibe that there's like this big conspiracy theory behind all this. It just doesn't quite sit right. At DB Cooper 81, channel member and a super chat. Thank you, DB. He says, been watching live Portland riots. Reminds me of the movie The Hills Have SSRIs. Oh, man, that's good. That's a good one. I like that one. I almost read it like a normie. The Hills Have Eyes. Whoa. Reminds me of the movie The Hills Have SSRIs. All right, look, we've had a good time tonight. I just left on a laughing note. So I'm going to get out of here while I'm still actually laughing because I know there's something nefarious going on with these names, but we will leave on a funny note. Right, Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy? What's happening, Fluffy? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Garen Wilson. All right. I will see you all again very soon. All right. Thanks for watching and have a good one. That was just too funny. The Hills have SSRIs. I know DLD After Dark's laughing right now. I bet money he is.